Back in the basement today to talk about the Sorinex Collegiate GHD. The goal of this video is not to convince you to buy this piece because I don't think that you should. In fact, I probably shouldn't have bought this, but I haven't seen any videos of this on YouTube, and I'm just trying to go through my gym and talk about things that I haven't yet had a chance to talk about. I'm not an affiliate of Sorinex. I'm not going to put a code anywhere. I'm just going to talk about the experience and what this piece means to me. Now, overall, I think it's a fantastic piece, right? Like, it fits in my gym great. I think it is one of my favorite looking pieces that I own. It's customized with the white and black color scheme. It has the laser cut logos on there. The thing is pretty sweet, but I didn't really need it. I had a Rogue Abrams before this that I got secondhand off of a commercial gym. I did have to replace the pads on that, but it worked great, was super solid. And most would say that is actually pretty expensive as is. I think the list price is like $750. But one of the things I wanted to do with this particular space, as you've seen and probably can see from some of the surrounding shots here, is just trying to really customize it to me beyond just a color scheme. So if I could, laser cut logos or making things unique, making them my own. And I feel like I was able to accomplish that with this piece from Sorinex, but it was a process. So first of all, if you've never ordered from Sorinex, it is not fun, especially from an end user standpoint. If you're not part of a large team, a facility, something like that, you're just trying to order one piece of equipment, it takes forever. You reach out to them, it takes a long time to hear back. When you finally do, the communication isn't great. You finally settle on what you want to get, and then you see the shipping costs from them. They're really super expensive. Not just the equipment, which I'll get to in a second, but the whole process of getting it shipped to you is also really, really expensive. So case in point, this piece at the time when I bought it retailed for $2,000. Add another $100 or so on top of that for Rhode Island state tax, and then add another $400 to $500 on top of that for shipping. So all in, this piece to my door, as is, cost me $2,600 to $2,700, which seems like a lot, and it is. But as part of this video, I want to pull up and see what the current prices is because things change over time. It's been, like I said, almost 2 years. It now lists for $2,850. So it costs more for just the piece of equipment than I paid for everything 2 years ago. So you can probably expect, if you're going to buy this now, to pay in the mid $3,000 range. So super expensive, which is a huge turnoff comparatively to a Rogue that I had before, which was their somewhat top of the line at $750. There's also a monster GHD that Rogue sells for $1,500, which you can customize some, which is going to add to the cost, but I don't think you can actually have logos placed on it. So that's the reason I went with Sorinex. At the time, it was like $500 more. It was what I wanted, and it is a great piece. But again, that is why I probably wouldn't recommend it, because it doesn't do anything better than a cheaper unit would. In fact, a lot of times out here, you've probably seen other people do reviews of some of these new GHDs that are coming out, whether they're a floor model, whether they're hybrid models that do more than one thing. Probably a better value if you're interested in the market for it. But for me, I love this piece because it is what it is. It's unique and it looks really cool. And I get a lot of use out of it. I do GHDs a couple of times a week, one of my favorite exercises. Now, what do you get with this? Not much more than a normal GHD again. You have the thigh pads up front. There's 2 half moons. I think they're 11 inches tall. There's a space in the middle for your junk. It's made from Naga hide. A little bit of a smooth material. The padding on this is really, really good. I say that because after 2 years, still looks really firm. And even when I'm in here training in between sets, this is my resting spot. I have my elbows in here. And a weaker pad would probably have given away and had some divots on the top. Not the case here. You get 2 handles in the front, which is to help you do stuff. I never really use them, to be honest, but they're covered in some rubber handles, no cracking, no peeling, anything like that. They're still in really good shape. You do get band pegs or pegs on here for whatever you choose to do down below. Haven't really used them. In this style, they're pointed in, and I've found that using bands in this method, just they don't stay on very well. So I assume they point them in because if you point them out, probably be a tripping hazard, but this is how they have them on the website too, and I just find that they don't stay on very well if you use bands, but I typically use heavy weighted medicine balls or dumbbells in order to do it. You have this stand right here to help you get on, which is really nice. Obviously, you can see the logos in front. On top, you have this kind of like steel diamond plated pattern for a landing. The steel silver color really isn't my cup of tea, but it looks really good. It looks really industrial. You also get that same padding right here on the foot pads as well. So it gives you some traction without just doing like some type of grip tape like other people might do. Heavy duty, looks industrial, looks pretty cool, and also adds to the weight. So Sorinex advertises that this thing weighs 400 pounds. I don't doubt it. The nice thing is that it does come with wheels on the back, so you can easily pick it up. And that's where these band pegs have really come in handy for me. They work as handles to lift this up and then wheel it in and out. So I was able to move this 400-pound monster, despite the fact that I'm obviously jacked. It could move it anyways without the wheels or with maybe some of the furniture moving pads that I've showed you in my other videos. But getting this out and in is really super simple. So even though it's big, it's hefty, it's super easy to move because of the handles and the wheels that are in place. You have 4 pads up here for your feet. Again, same Naugahyde material. Interesting one about this is you have 2 adjustment points. So if you have bigger ankles, cankles, maybe, smaller, whatever, you can adjust independently to get this in the perfect spot up and down. There's plenty of loading pins depending on if you want to be low or high that can change the difficulty of the actual movement itself. This pad is set in place. It would be cool to actually have this be able to maneuver some, but being that it's not maneuverable, it is super solid, super tight, super firm up here. Now, one of the interesting things on this model, which I'll have to probably flip it around to show you, so I'll show you some B-roll of it, is on the opposite side here, you have an adjustment mechanism. So there is a little foot lever here where you can step on. You also have handles on the back foot plate for, number one, doing things like leg raises. So if you're going to, on here, whatever you choose to do, maybe by putting some bands on there as well. You can also hold onto this handle, step on this foot plate, and adjust the area of where the foot pads are. Now I'm going to show you this in a second, but one of my knocks on this is that this is a very heavy piece, as I mentioned. And in this case, when you step on this, it kind of just lets things go. And this is not the easiest thing to maneuver. You can hear in my voice, I'm struggling just a little bit, but there's like pretty much no resistance here. So it is somewhat easy to move in that regards, but there's also like no resistance where if you're not careful or if you're not expecting it, this could really jack you up. Now, once you find a spot, one of my complaints with this is even though this unit is very solid, it's very heavy, as I mentioned, in this kind of range of motion, you do get a little bit of movement just because, again, where the pin is and the size of the holes. But in this range of motion, you get a lot of movement. So this doesn't feel very sturdy. And again, I wish they would clean this up a little bit, but it does not feel as sturdy, this portion, as the pull pin adjustability of my Rogue Abram. So you'd expect for like 3 times as much, you'd get some more stability there, but just due to the design, it's a little bit rough. I will say they have added a rubber kind of bumper on the back. So if you go too far, it's not going to give you any metal on metal contact. Case in point right there. Easy back to adjust. But again, you can see it in the video. This just doesn't look good. Now in use, because you're pushing your feet against it, you don't get a lot of that movement, but it's just something I wanted to call out. The last thing I wanted to call out back here is you do have a place for storage. So I like that fact because I have an abundance of plates, as you can probably see. I can't even fit them all on the screen, but this is perfect to keep my Strength Co. Hundos. Don't use them that much, so I can't even say what their name is. The Strength Co. Hundos go right on there, and they make this beast even heavier. So it goes from 400 to 600 pounds right on there. It can handle a lot of weight. But all in, when it's all said and done, I love this piece. But again, I can't recommend it to anyone just based off of the price alone and the fact that it doesn't do anything beyond look better than a traditional GHD. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. In the meantime, as always, thanks for watching and stay big.